Hi, Scary Recaps here. Today, I'm going to explain the movie The Summer of '84 from 2018. Beware of spoilers. The film begins with a young boy named Davy Armstrong cycling on the streets of a small suburban town called Cape May. He delivers newspapers to houses, all the while thinking of serial killers and expressing what appears to be a common fact that in the suburbs is where the craziest things happen. Davy stops to give a newspaper to a man called Mackie, who asks him to help him out, carrying some old furniture to the basement. Mackie shows Davy his soon-to-be dark room where he will develop his photographs, and then thanks him for his help. Davy and his friends, Woody, Curtis, and Eats, spend their time in their treehouse, which stands on the property of Eats' father. The kids discuss about various things, and Davy brings up the matter of the missing children. Eats and the rest of the friends joke about aliens and government conspiracies, but Davy remains true to his beliefs. The next day, Davy and his friends go to a bowling alley where Davy sees Nikki, a beautiful girl, older than him, who used to babysit him when he was younger. The boys can only dream of her as they can never be with her. Later that night, Davy's father, who works in the local newspaper, receives a call from a colleague telling him about a letter that has come to the office from a man claiming to be the Cape May Slayer, responsible for the deaths of many children. Davy alerts his friends about this, and a news bulletin confirms the information. The next day, the boys search for clues in the local library, and they decide to go to Mackie's house to ask him a few questions since he is a cop. Davy strongly suspects that Mackie is probably the Cape May Slayer, and the boys decide to start watching him. Soon they learn his everyday routine and decide one night to search his garbage, though they find nothing incriminating in the trash. While Davy is waiting for Woody, Nikki shows up at his house. She walks into his room and goes to kiss him when Davy's parents return. Not wanting to be noticed, Nikki leaves through the window. Meanwhile, a boy is seen being kidnapped by a man. The next day, Davy and his friends follow Mackie to the town and watch him as he purchases a pickaxe, a shovel, and many bags of dirt. As he leaves, the boys follow him, but they soon lose him, and they are stopped by Officer Cole, who warns them about the Cape May Slayer. Davy is observing Mackie with his goggles, and Nikki comes over. Davy and Nikki hang out, drinking beers, and she tells him about her parents getting a divorce. Davy tells Nikki that he thinks Mackie is the Cape May Slayer, and Nikki asks him to stop spying on him. Davy and his friends drink alcohol in the treehouse, and Davy tells them about Nikki and insists on his suspicions about Mackie. They go to a neighbor's house, worried that they might be dead, and Davy finds out that the front door is unlocked. They enter the house with caution and search around. Suddenly, they come across Nikki, who is cleaning the place since the owners are away on vacation. The boys spy Mackie in his house and see that he is using cleaning fluid and that he is covered in blood. As Davy circles around his house, Mackie opens the window and sees him, scaring him away. The next day, Davy goes to retrieve the walkie-talkie Eats left the night before on one of the windows. Mackie then sneaks up on him, and Davy says that Mackie owes him money for the newspapers. As Mackie takes him to the backyard, Davy sees a freshly covered hole, possibly a grave, in the ground. Davy leaves, and later that night, as he sees through his goggles, he discovers that Mackie is also spying on him. The boys meet in the treehouse and come up with a plan. As Mackie leaves the house, Curtis and Woody follow him into a storage unit while Davy and Eats open the hole looking for the body. They discover nothing in the garden and instead search his shed, discovering a bloody t-shirt that belonged to a lost kid. The next day, Davy and his friends decide to tell Davy's parents about Mackie. Davy's father, however, scolds the kids and takes them to Mackie to apologize to him. Mackie laughs at the suspicions and explains that the t-shirt belongs to a nephew of his. After this, Davy is grounded, but Nikki calls him and asks him to come over. Davy tells Nikki what has happened. The next day, Mackie visits Davy at his house and tries to sort things out. He asks if there's anything he can do to help him feel better. Davy says that he can call his nephew, and, as he arms himself with a knife from the kitchen, he gives Mackie the phone. Mackie calls his sister in Seattle, where his supposed nephew lives, but no one answers. Mackie leaves, and Davy calls the dial center, finding out that Mackie actually called himself. The boys meet at Davy's house, and soon hear from a news bulletin that Mackie has apprehended the Cape May Slayer. Everything seems to be alright now, but Davy doesn't buy it, and presently forms a new plan with the boys, intending to go to Mackie's basement and search there. The next day, everyone takes their places. Davy and Woody sneak into Mackie's house, and Nicky startles them, joining them. Curtis observes something peculiar and tells Davy through the walkie-talkie that Mackie isn't the killer. Nonetheless, Davy, Woody, and Nicky enter Mackie's basement to have a look. Eats and Curtis decide to back out and leave Davy and Woody on their own. Davy manages to unlock the door to the mysterious room in Mackie's basement, and inside finds many strange photographs of boys on the walls, but nothing that proves Mackie's the killer. Soon, however, they discover a body melting in the bathtub and the kidnapped boy in terrible condition. As they turn to leave, Davy finds out that he was going to be Mackie's next victim. Davy and Woody take the evidence to the police, and officers go out to arrest him. Davy's parents are proud of their son, and they tell him that he can relax now. Woody spends the night at Davy's, and they both look as the police arrive in Mackie's house. Later that night, the stairs that go to the attic open, and Mackie appears in the hall. He goes to Davy's room and knocks him out. Soon, Davy wakes up in a police car with Woody. They manage to break free of the bonds, and Mackie shows up in the window, forcing them out. The two boys run into the woods, and Mackie calls out to them, saying that he wants to play manhunt with them. Davy and Woody see that they are standing in a remote place, surrounded by water. They can't escape, and Davy decides to distract Mackie in order to buy Woody enough time to get away. As Davy gets Mackie to follow him, Woody returns to the police car. Davy loses sight of Mackie, who suddenly cuts his leg and goes after Woody. Davy tries to warn his friend, but Mackie grabs Woody and slices his throat. Davy comes and sees that his friend is dead. Once again, he is surprised by Mackie, who tells him that even though he wants so much to kill him, instead, he will not. He says to him that he will haunt him, making him dread the day of his return. Mackie then gets in the car and leaves Davy in the wilderness. Davy manages to walk a long distance before being rescued by a passerby. Davy grieves over Woody's death. After he is discharged from the hospital, Davy resumes his daily life routine, cycling and delivering newspapers. He sees Woody's deserted house, Nicky waving at him as she leaves, Eats and Curtis smashing the treehouse. Davy stops outside Mackie's house and takes out a newspaper with the headline stating that the Cape May Slayer is somewhere out there.